wait. And baby, I'm TFC till I die.
Hello and welcome to Toronto Till I Die, the Toronto FC fan show. I'm Mike Newell, and a lot of happenings this week for TFC. We got players making debuts, we have players heading out the door, we got hot dogs, hat controversies, a whole bunch of stuff happening around TFC. Too much drama for a team not going to the playoffs for the fifth consecutive year. But we'll be here for the next hour or so to wrap it all up. Jeffrey P. Nesker with me as always. Jeff, you and I were at the game Saturday, TFC, CF Montreal, derby match. How did you think about the game? What did you think about the game? Because the last sort of 10 minutes were fireworks. Up until then, though, I wonder what you thought about the game.
I mean, I ain't mad at it, honestly. It was exciting. You know, it was a nice little redemption arc for our constantly beleaguered El Capitan, Jonathan Osorio. He scored a vintage Oso late arriving screamer, absolute screamer. Like, that conversion was wonderful. And I mean, to see him like chirp, who was it? Daryl,
Bryce Duke, I think. Yeah,
Bryce
Duke. He chirped like a couple of guys on the way back.
Yeah, but he really chirped Bryce Duke. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was Bryce Duke. Yeah.
You know, it was a fun little derby game. Honestly, like the CNE just gets more chaotic, and the game was very much overshadowed by the Gizzy Gate, which I had to endure. And I'm pleased that everybody else ended up with a hat, and yourself.
Did get a hat. Didn't even have to buy a dog for it.
Who gave you that hat?
Oh, one of the King's members' wives who was clearly what am I doing with this thing?
I had nothing to do with it at all. Yeah, you're right. It was
not having it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there were limbs in the South End. It was nice. That Oso screamer, like, I haven't seen the South End explode like that in a long time. And watching Richie versus Prince Owosu, I mean, that in itself was worth the price of admission. So yeah, good times.
Yeah, I'll echo Kevin's comment here. It was a fun game, for a game that didn't have a lot in terms of like stakes in the standings or anything like that. For a game with two teams who have significantly changed sort of their look during the transfer window. So you could have very much gotten sort of like a dead rubber game where teammates, you're getting some new players who don't know each other yet or not being as tight in terms of chemistry. It was a fun game, and it was chippy, and it felt like a derby. Like, was it the most beautiful flowing game of football? As Jonathan Osorio said after the game, not so much, but I think you've got a game where this felt like two teams who kind of took this derby seriously. And that was fun. And, I think if you look at the TFC performances out there, I know we'll get to Ola in a moment and his, departure now from the club. But I think, one of the player I'm going to shout out the most, I know we talked Oso, but Gaucho gets it right. Larea along checking Owosu and mostly Richie at center back, doing one heck of a job against Prince Owosu, just being Richie, just being a pest. And that was fun to watch. And I know you and I were making some comments about it, but it was just fun to watch Richie in his element, really enjoying a derby and really enjoying taking on a former teammate and just making life hell for him.
Yeah, shout out to Derek Chen Jr. and Matty Longstaff's little bit of handbags in the Montreal net in the like second and last action of the game. Yeah. That was some fun. Shout out to Kevin Long. He missed a few what I would call pretty delicious crosses from corners from Georgie. So I'm not giving him. I mean, what did Foot Mob give him? They gave him a 7.3, but they also think that we lined up in a 4-3-3, and I'm not sure I agree with
May have
that.
started off that way, but there is no way that morphed about a million.
Yeah, it felt like a 4-4-2 diamond most of the time. I mean, it was pretty fluid, but yeah. So I mean, take that what you will, take from that what you will. Yeah, overall, I thought Cozy was pretty good. I think Kobe's always dependable. I think it's fair to admit that I almost didn't notice that Matty Longstaff was playing for Montreal until about the 65th minute, but I was coming down from my Gizzy Gate PTSD, so some of that was, but to Albert's point just came up. Sifo looked good. Sifu, not Sifo.
Cifuentes, yeah.
Yeah, Cifuentes. He looked good.
Yeah,
I liked what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, in limited minutes coming off the bench, but I thought overall, and we said this last week, and I think this still holds true, that this team is showing a little something. It's not much, I don't think it's anything to write home about necessarily, but I think the difference post DPs has been okay in scoring talent. And in sort of overall play, are they better? No. But does this team show a lot of fight? Does this team look like it plays together now? Yes. That's clearly not enough at this point to make too much of a difference. And we'll see how many of these guys stick around at the end of the season. Or after the season, I should say. But, in a derby where, I think there was something on the line in terms of just pride and being able to show fans that, hey, we're not gonna dog it for these last sort of
for at least 10 men on the pitch. It must be said, for at least 10 men on the pitch for TFC.
Right? Like you're gonna
existed.
You're gonna show us something, and then you see what ends up happening at the end in terms of how how all the roster stuff shakes out at the end. But I think, you get Richie in there and he has a great game. And then you have a couple other performances you want to point out. I guess we can get to Ola, but you want to go first before I...
Well, I mean, this idea that we're going... I really oppose this sort of idea that we're going to find stuff out, right? Because you can see... Suddenly, people are calling for Theo to be sent back to Grenada or put on the next plane anywhere but Toronto. And, I resisted about as much as I did this like constant suggestion when we were like deep in the DP hellscape that, if we just surrounded these two guys with better players, they'd be better, right? So I resist this idea because look, we can talk more about Ola, but the only part I want to get into is that, to me, it was obvious that the man was playing with one foot out the door. I mean, if he didn't know about what was going on, then he must have had a sniff that his time was limited. I mean, I'd like to think that if it was my last appearance for a club that I'd underwhelmed for, I'd want to give them everything, but I'm not a professional footballer. I'm not trying to avoid injury for a club that I'm not playing for anymore. I'm a TFC fan, so I want to see him show for my team. I'm horribly biased. But that being said, how can we judge Theo comfortably? Again, results-based industry, people are going to get judged, but I have a problem with Theo takes that don't take into account that he was passing to somebody that was like in the phantom zone. So, do I think he comes back from loan next year? That's a different question. But do I like these takes that are like, oh, well, now we can really measure these guys? This team is about as dysfunctional as they were when we had two guys on the field that only wanted to play with each other. Right? Like the pieces are coming together, and I agree with all your other takes, but I really resist this idea that we're going to be able to find anything out. Maybe individually, getting back to the Ola thing, now that he's out of the way and he's not blocking DeAndre and Jules Anthony, we will get to see more of them, right? Which I think is as far as I'm ready to go with that. Like, will we see them build chemistry with Georgie? Maybe. Will we see it with Richie? Maybe. Will that bode well for the future? Maybe, because we've still got so many missing pieces. And let's not forget that Cifuentes, he played. I mean, he didn't play enough to get a foot mob rating. So, he showed very well, but we still don't know what he brings. And then I guess I don't know where to put this, but there was a really good tweet that I read today in the aftermath of, the dancing on Ula's grave, which I certainly wasn't not guilty of, that, generally speaking, there's a pretty good case to be made that, like, if you don't give your striker 2 years in MLS, one to get adjusted and two to find their form, you're doing a disservice to the player. And I do think that there is some truth in that. There are a lot of people that will be considered, they're on the MLS Mount Rushmore, not named Joseph Martinez, that had an absolutely terrible first year and then turned around and were gangbusters in the second. And there's absolutely nobody on here, myself included, that could say with any certainty that wouldn't have been Ola Brynhildsen, right? It's just a consequence of the situation. And then, I mean, let's get into it. Like the takes that this wasn't an absolute slam dunk deal. I mean, do we follow this? Well, no, but the deal itself, who cares about whether it worked out or not? The deal itself was a slam dunk, right? We're not talking about the team buying out this guy and whether the board are on board with it and, what it's going to do to like, it's a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Sorry, thanks. Enjoy playing Champions League football.
I know. What a way to fail up,
He's going to play Champions League bench. He's not going to play Champions League football, but enjoy being on a team where you're playing Champions League football.
Well, I think that was the whole point of this deal, right? Like the whole
exactly,
point of
and it's great.
Where you see if they fit, and if they don't, then there's no risk to you. You just send them back.
And let's be honest, we were in a position where, like, who's going to send us anything? Like, you look at, I mean, Sean and Noel said it really well on their dissertation, right? If you look at Ula's stats, they're not very impressive, but his last loan spell, he scored something like 11 goals in 20-something games, right? You look at that level, and you're like, if we can get that for us, that's amazing.
Exactly.
But we were in no position to bargain with anybody. Like, we were the last place team, like decidedly in the last place team in North America, and not even in LA and New York, but in Canada, where the tax laws are different and everybody thinks everybody lives in igloos 12 months out of the year, right? Forget about the fact that Norwegians might actually understand that we're warmish. But like this idea that like we spent that deal was crap and that there was a laundry list of teams willing to negotiate with us. Forget about it. Nobody wanted to come here. Nobody wanted to play with Lorenzo Insigne, the ghost of Lorenzo Insigne and his best friend Federico. Even Crescito didn't want to play here. So this revisionist history that like there were better options out there. This was a slam dunk and only proven further by how easy it was to extricate ourselves from it. Right? Considering how difficult it's been to extricate ourselves from other contracts. I'm talking about years. This was snap your fingers and done.
Yeah, exactly. And look, let's get into it. I mean, that this is a guy who, when you think about Ola Brynhildsen through this season, 2 goals, right? In what, 22 matches or 21 matches?
Yeah, something like that. It's terrible.
Got injured, right? Didn't make a debut for the first couple of games until he could play. Once he got in, didn't score for 9 games.
But looked good. Looked like he was putting something together those first few appearances.
And I think that's the thing, right? I think more than anything for me with Ola Brynhildsen, I'll always just think like, what if? What if he came in healthy? What if we were able to be a somewhat functioning, semi-competent team? Would he? Because he had he had chances. You can also be very guilty of like this guy just did not finish any chances. He only had 2 shots on goal in that final game. Yes, I do agree that maybe he was sort of playing with a foot out the door.
He was a shadow in the final game.
I don't think he dogged it. I think he just.
I do. I do.
Fair enough. I don't think he dogged it. I think he's just like this is not the place for him. Like clearly,
would you dog it?
Work.
I mean, I'm of two minds on the subject. Like, say you dog it in a derby game in your last appearance, you pop your ACL, and that's
Yeah.
kudos on your career,
Well, I
right?
mean, true, but I mean, I think like you still go out and you are a professional and you still want to, like, you could dog it, and then the team that's supposed to loan,
And I think he did that because you're sitting here going, I don't think you dogged it. So I think I don't think he went out there with, and Frank Pirlo'd it, Andre Pirlo'd it with his corner defense.
I don't think he
absolutely not that.
I don't think he dogged it. I just think he just was not effective in this team, right? That's just it. And he
didn't care, and I think that's important.
Yeah, and I think he just yes, the narrative that he needed service is true. He did need better service, 100%.
100%.
But he had chances to score goals, and he had a great breakaway chance in this game on Saturday, and couldn't put it away. So from that perspective, I think you look at the move, and the one thing you could say is like, look, you spent the season with a guy hoping you were going to get something out of him to be your starting number 9. It never materialized. We probably knew by like July, really, that this was not going to be a thing, right? It just wasn't.
I guess. I was still waiting for him to round into form because he scored. Those 2 goals were both beautiful, and there were a lot of examples.
In Montreal. One's a tap in.
Yeah,
fair. Are pretty much tap-ins, right?
But that's a poacher number 9. Like that's the exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where you now have this sort of what if behind you. You've now had this season. You're starting to think, well, DeAndre was hurt for a good part of the season, but you're thinking, what could have been if you had DeAndre? What if we could have ended up maybe not signing like another European striker? What if you went with somebody in MLS? What could have been? In the end of the day,
it was our turn for Kai Kamara. So I mean,
I guess, but I mean, at the end of the day, you take a flyer on a player. If he comes in and he scores a ton of goals, then you look like geniuses, right? You bring him in for practically no money.
Exactly.
Okay, you gotta take a buy option on him, but like if he comes in and he scores 11 to 15 goals, you're probably happy to take the buy option.
Yeah. You're probably happy to take the contract that stipulates if he's healthy, he starts.
Yeah.
I mean, considering the state of the team at the moment where this loan was negotiated, I mean, you take that and you laugh. You take that and you're like, okay, that's the only concession you want. What's that? A unicorn? And you're out the door in a puff of smoke, like Batman. So yeah, I mean, I just think, can you imagine the slog that this year has been on TFC players? Can you imagine? I think he's checked out, and near the end he knew that he wasn't long for this world. So for this TFC world. So why would he bother? Which I don't want to speculate, but I can only, that's what my eye test said to me.
Fair, and right? Like at the end of the day. You look, maybe we did Midtjylland a favor. We cut the loan short. They can make a bit of money in the future. We've now got a relationship with a club that generally makes a Champions League.
Yep.
Or at least makes the qualifying for Champions League.
Absolutely.
And is pretty consistent in Europa League. And there's another player that you see that you really like. You're like, hey, we can take them on loan. And okay, this one didn't work out for this, that, and the other reason, but you continue to build those relationships that
absolutely
then he can do, right? Like, so I think that's one thing to consider.
Okay, Carmat, we've been trying, dude. I've been trying. I do not want my mic to be louder.
So I have not changed anything with my mic.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
Do you want me to just here? Hold on. Let me turn mine.
Try your best here. Yeah. But yes, no, we know the mic situation. I may just get a new mic. It might be time. I've had this for a really long time.
Okay. How's that, Carmat? Your test,
hey, Carmat,
test
yeah,
check
you
1,
let us,
2.
You let us know.
Yeah, you let me know.
Mike situation, and if we're
because I hate the sound of my own voice.
Eardrums
so,
out.
Yeah.
We're sorry in advance.
Yeah, indeed. We usually have turds for that,
so
but Carmat, you're hired.
We talk about Ola right now. He's out the door, and now you've got this dual striker combination of DeAndre Kerr and Jules Anthony Vilson, 2 Canadian players that show promise. And Okay, at least it's better. There you go.
Yeah.
With Jules Anthony Vilsaint and DeAndre Kerr, Jules Anthony Vilsaint. Look, I think I know a lot of people are jumping on the Jules Anthony Vilsaint train right now. He's coming.
It's
He's
a
looked
fun
good.
train, man. He looks good out there.
I know he looks good, but like small sample size. I'm not jumping on the hype train too much yet.
Two inches, 1.5 inches. If that ball had been 1.5 inches to the other side, BMO would have maybe shaked on its foundation.
Well, the Oso goal, you mentioned the eruption of the Oso goal, and both you and I did, right? Like,
it was stupid.
It
was
has
a
not,
stupid goal.
You're right. It had not erupted like that in quite a while. And the Jules Anthony Vilsaint beautiful chip that almost
won the derby.
Would have sent everybody off. But before that, the patience that he had to just have some confidence to take the ball, drive that defenders, and take that shot that led to the Oso rebound goal. We haven't seen that a lot from strikers at TFC for a while, where they'll just drive, they get the ball, turn around, drive at somebody, and just take a pop, right? Mm-hmm. And he gets it on frame. And I think, there you can see that there is a lot to like about him in terms of his physical stature, the way his presence on the ball. He has an understanding of how to move with his teammates, how to move with the defense.
He's so tall. I love a tall, athletic striker.
And we haven't had that in
a long time.
Long time, right?
Yeah, in a long time.
I think, but I'm still pumping the brakes on the Jules Anthony Vilsaint.
Well, because I think
he deserves to start. I think he's earned the right to start a game and show us what he's got.
With Jules, though, there's a reason Montreal let him go, and that reason, Mikey Singh said it the last time the three of us were together, was that he's apparently quite inconsistent.
Yeah, hot and cold.
So yeah, he's hot and cold. I would argue that any striker that's not getting regular minutes will be hot and cold because form is so important and regular reps are so important. So I think that's, did Montreal give him those regular minutes? Maybe not, but are we? I hope so. Because again, you gotta see what you got, and injuries hindered him. Yeah. You look at the way he plays. I'm not surprised. He really runs out there. I still see no reason that, what is it now? 6 games left? 6 games left, I think. 6 games.
Pretty much.
I see no reason that you shouldn't be platooning DeAndre and
I think that's what will happen. They may start together. There might be a situation where Robin Fraser just wants to see if these two can play together as a strike pair.
I wouldn't mind seeing that either. I thought his interplay with Oso was fantastic for a guy that's almost never played any meaningful minutes with Jonathan Osorio. The two of them seemed to be telepathic for a while. It was
also this is the game where you saw the best of Jonathan Osorio. This is
absolutely
the Jonathan Osorio.
He was having fun out there, man. He was feeling. He was in his feels. Yeah,
and yes, we know he has not been great this season.
That finish was elite.
It was, but I think just even his ball shuttling, his ability to win the ball back, his work rate in this game was fantastic. Deserving to potentially be man of the match. I don't know if he actually got it or not. But I think they may have given it to Richie. But I thought he was fantastic in this game, and just showed you, if you can get something like that out of him next season, where he again doesn't necessarily have to have those responsibilities. We've talked about it quite a bit on this show, and he can just be him and do the things that he does really well. Mm-hmm. He's still a extremely valuable piece of this team, right?
Yeah, it would be like Man United saying goodbye to prime Paul Scholes, or a little bit over the hill Paul Scholes. Like, who wouldn't want Paul Scholes on your team? Like, of course you do. So it's somebody asked further up, Maxime. Listen, I thought Maxime was excellent. I thought Alonso, how many goal line clearances did that kid do at the derby? Like, it was, I don't think I've seen him play that far back in a while, and he cleaned up a lot of messes.
Yeah. Here's a question for you about Maxime Dominguez. I'm interested in people's thoughts about this. I know some people really rate him and some people don't. And I wonder what everybody's expectations of what he actually is as a player are, right? Because I think when he first got here, he was kind of billed as a 10, right? Like he was
Yeah.
billed as a guy
He's
who
not.
can play against, and I don't think
He's an
he
8.
is. I think he's more of an 8, or, like that.
I
the guy
I
that
think
can
he's as
kind of
close
do both.
to I think he's as close to Marky Delgado as we've had since Marky Delgado laced up for us. Marky Delgado didn't score a lot of goals. I think people are looking at him to be like a Nick DeLeon, Nico Hassler, to Tsubasa Endo kind of player. They all scored some wonderful goals for this side. I mean, Nick DeLeon, especially, like that screamer in Atlanta is in club history. Tsubasa Endo, he scored one of the quickest goals ever off the hop for TFC. Unbelievable player. Marco Delgado was the middle flipper. Mark Delgado was the middle flipper for our team. Didn't score a lot of goals, but really, really, really kept the team together, recycled the ball, was instrumental in a ton of attacks, and wasn't super flashy. Do I think he's at the level of prime Marky Delgado? Absolutely not. I think Marky Delgado is underrated. He's like the hipster's favorite 8 in MLS history. But I think Maxime can get there. I mean, look at the arc, right? Look at how he sort of fit into this team, and I think he meshes well with what Robin Fraser's trying to do here. I think he might be ideal for. I mean, listen, Robin Fraser calling Richie Larea like Moise Bombito. I can sleep on that quote. Like that quote gave me like dopamine for days.
I don't want to see Richie Larea be a center back for the rest.
Neither do I. But when he does it on the rare occasion, he's fantastic. So
I mean, he just can get it. People's gonna. We talked about that earlier, but interesting. I got Max because I look at his what he did in the game. Right, 37 touches, 3 tackles, 2 blocks. He was, his passing was up there, the 93 percentile. Progressive carries were high. Again, that's not necessarily a 10 per se because you now have Georgi Mihailovic to do all that. But again, you're kind of asking him to be, to kind of just do a job. And if he can do that and be effective, now I don't know what the option is on his loan, what the buy option is.
He's not very dangerous on goal. And I think for a team that doesn't score a lot, that could be the reason to just say no thanks.
Maybe.
There's a lot of footballers out there.
True. I don't know what his cap hit would potentially be if they did pick him up and choose. I would suspect
it's Vasco da Gama, so we don't have to pay them because they don't pay anybody. So there is that positive.
I think he might have been on decent money, but we'll see. But just interesting because I thought he, for what he's being asked to do, he's done well. The question becomes, is that really enough to keep the guy if he's going to be on near TAM money? I don't know.
On our new TFC, no passengers. So if you're asking me on this new look, new hot, new fresh TFC, the new TFC, same great taste, new packaging. No, not at all. No fair passengers.
Enough. Yeah.
There's a lot of footballers out there. Unless he's coming in on MLS minimum and really doesn't want to play for Vasco anymore, he hasn't proven enough to deserve even a high TAM contract. Let's be honest.
Okay. We also saw a debut of Jose Cifuentes. It was a brief cameo, 16-minute cameo on Saturday night. Hard to obviously make too many judgments off a very short cameo, but in that short period of time, I thought, you see some of the things that people talk about in terms of why people think this is an astute signing, right?
Absolutely.
Good on the ball, much more offensively minded, he's carrying it for. He's getting the ball.
You take your eyes off him for 1 second, and then you lose him on the pitch. This happened a few times in his cameo, where I was watching him, and then the action went somewhere else. I imagined where his run would be, and when I looked back, he wasn't there. He was somewhere else, and I was like, "Oh,
moves very well without the ball.
I like where this guy. I like where we're going here." So I'm a fan.
Yeah,
and again, you look back at that LAFC team, what they did. I mean, that was some beautiful, beautiful football. So and he was a big part of that. So
one thing he did,
I'm excited.
You don't see TFC do a lot, one touch passing. Which one of the things that TFC can be very guilty of in possession is, yes, they can have a lot of possession, but it's so slow, ponderous. You know, you got to take a touch on the ball each time before you distribute the ball. He can make that one-touch pass, which can just speed some things up. And
Absolutely.
with him, Vilsant, Kerr coming in, you know, you kind of saw like the tempo of TFC's attack pickup, which was massive, right? And like I thought that's a good thing to see out of him. And like, look, he should be nailed in as a starter going forward. And I think like, you know, when you think about having Oso, and you know we're talking about Dominguez, and you know if you're going to say, hey, you're not keeping Dominguez, well, this is the guy that can sort of play beside Jonathan Osorio, allow Jonathan Osorio to do some other, you know, Jonathan Osorio stuff, and he can really drive. Like he can drive a team.
Yeah,
because I just saw.
I'm worried about having Alonso be the mop up guy, though. I don't like where that puts my Alonso, but I do agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and interesting about that too, because again, I thought Alonso Cuejo had an okay game, like not
7.5.
Like had a pretty decent game. Like again, a little quieter than probably his last performance ago, and he didn't have to necessarily be the loudest.
He was
guy
putting
on
out fires. It pays to be quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But now you start to get an idea. And okay, do you want Alonso to be kind of that 6? And I don't think he needs to have to be like Davy Destroyer, but he can be more of a Regista, a little bit more of a deep lying progressive player. You know, he's got the passing range.
He
right
sure
now.
Does.
Doesn't always hit it all the time. That is the one thing about him. But he's got that in his locker to be able to be that deep lying guy. So now
it gives you tactical fluidity. I agree. Yes, I want a destroyer on the team. I want a 6 that is a black hole. Absolutely. I love that. I love that style.
So then if you do that, who come like, I mean, I don't think they're playing with a 4-man midfield. So they may play with a 3-man midfield. So like who's coming out?
I don't know. It's probably Alonso, if I'm being honest.
Right, like
in this situation.
I mean, if they play a diamond, I guess Georgie could be at the top of the diamond, and then you know
Oso and Sifu,
Oso Sifu, and then if you're getting a 6, it's probably Cuejo out. So that's probably what you're looking at. Okay, so I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's a 1-1 draw. You know, they're off for the week of the international break, and then you know they come back, and then I guess what do you want to see these last like 6 games? Like it's kind of like now you're in the position of like, okay, well, what do we want to see out of this team for the next 6 games? Like what do we? Let's get away from the hey, what do we learn? But let's just say like, what do we want to see out of this team? Like
I want to see a heartfelt apology from Keith Pelly to the fans over Gizzy Gate. I want a voucher for as many bucket hats as I want, and I want a lot of them. What else do I want to see? I just, you know, I want to see. I think I say this at least at this point in every one of the lost seasons. I want to see the people that aren't getting minutes get some minutes. Get some competitive minutes. I want to see the team, to the best of their ability, try and make games out of this. You know, it's because I do feel that most of the people that are going know that they're going, or at least have a very strong suspicion. It's going to be very difficult to get, you know, 80% out of those people. And that's understandable, but I'd like to see the team not dog it. Or at the very least, I'd like to see, you know, the players that are actually using these minutes properly shine. That's what I'd like to see. But mostly glizzies and bucket hats.
Well, quickly, let's talk about that. Okay.
What a disaster. What a disaster.
The club's got to get some notes on giveaways from the Blue Jays. Come on. You get
I got the non-truncated version of this, by the way.
Just you get 10,000 hats, just give away 10,000 hats, man. Don't, you know, whatever. And then have a $3 hot dog deal. And then now you don't have guys standing in line buying like 25 hot dogs and wanting 25 hats.
Well, it should have been per purchase, not per dog. I mean, per dog is insane.
That's
and
insane.
Then having like different queues. You know, you buy your hot dog and then you take your receipt to the other queue for the hat.
To get the hat.
Get the hat. It's very, very, very inefficient. I mean,
you run out of hot dogs. I think they ran out of hot dogs by like
No, they ran out of buns, so they were
Oh,
just
they ran out
giving
of
they were just
buns.
giving you hot dogs
Okay.
without buns. So yeah, an F. I give it. It's a no for me, dog.
I don't know. I got a hat. If you got a glizzy hat out there, you let us know.
Oh, I don't. Let's be honest. I don't actually want one. I cannot pull it off. It would have been nice to have, but my wife is very, very happy that there isn't a glizzy hat going into the closet that the TFC closet that time forgot. So, no, you know what? I will accept the return of the Kia Toque. That's what I want instead. Bring back Kia Toques, especially with a pom pom on top. We're good. We're golden, TFC.
Fair enough. There you go.
Yeah,
You heard it. You
yeah.
heard it there. Okay. Just Louis saying interesting stuff here. Just I want to see clean sheets. The defensive and physical aspects of the team continue to disturb me.
Even if Sean Johnson is not long for this world, what does it mean? Clean sheets. It's just it's a bragging rights with absolutely nothing that bodes towards.
Well,
the
I
next
think
season.
I think what it would mean is that you might see a defensive solidity in the team in terms of just being able to work together and grind out a result like that. I mean, I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to ask for. Like, look, your last 6 games here are New England after the break, Columbus. That's going to be tough away. Both of those games are away.
Yikes.
Inter at home.
Gillette Stadium, we're going to lose at. I don't care that New England are terrible. Like, when do we ever win at Gillette Stadium?
Yeah. Chicago away, LAFC away, and then Orlando City at home to end the season. And like, or you're talking about what 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 6 are playoff teams. Chicago's kind of on the bubble, but I don't think they're going to make it. So it's tough. Like, that's a tough last 6 games to go into. And I don't know what you're gonna. I mean, I think what I just want to see out of this team is, from a tactical perspective, I think it's more on like Robin Fraser. I want to see sort of what is he thinking from a tactical identity perspective.
I don't think you can ask him that question.
What are you trying to impart on this team right now?
Right now, I think is a fair question, and right now I would just be throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks to keep me awake, because I don't think it's fair to say, Robin, show us what this team is going to be like next year with a whole bunch of flotsam and a flat tire. I don't think that's fair.
Well, he's got to have in his mind at least a few of these players that are going to stick around, right? And who he's going to want to start building.
But again,
around.
like if Theo starts and Theo's not sticking around, that affects the play of everybody in that attacking core, right? If Dominguez starts and he's not sticking around, well, then that certainly colors how that core is going to play. To Louis' point about clean sheets and defensive solidity, like, if Rosted and Pertretta aren't coming back, well, then we're not really seeing what next year's defensive core is going to look like anyway. And then we're setting ourselves up for disappointment, because we're like, oh, we really like how Pertretta and Rosted played for those last 6 games. New guy better play just like them. And then if they don't, they're a failure. And I'd rather be surprised by new people. So yeah, I just want to, rainbows, hugs, and orange slices at halftime, and maybe a few guys shine. We get a few screamers that we can cheer about. Congratulations to the people that painted the coffin, because that was amazing banter for the derby.
Really
that was
good banter.
unbelievable banter, absolutely fantastic banter. And before I forget, oh my God, congratulations, Seattle Sounders. Holy S. Oh my God, Brian Schmetzler and the Seattle Sounders. My glizzy hat that I don't have is off to you guys. Remember when we were like neck and neck with those guys? Yeah. You look at what they've done since then, and I tweeted this. We look back and we're like, glory days, but I think that the 2016, 2017, 2019 is a blip for Seattle fans on their upward trajectory to winning everything else. So, the argument has to be made. I think maybe Bruce Arena's more winning, but Schmetzer, oh my God, like, quietly just a devastatingly good head coach, just devastatingly good. I mean, the club they have to be the gold standard in North America right now.
100%. Like 100%.
Yeah.
Like, you got to think about that club as like what TFC should aspire to be. Not Inter Miami, who made a disgrace of themselves after that.
Absolute disgrace of themselves.
But I'm going to put that aside. That there's been enough comment on that.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the highlights at the end of the game, go YouTube it.
Low lights.
Very much low life. But, you know, the reason a Seattle can sustain the success that they do for as long as they have, because if you think about it, they've only missed the playoffs, I think, twice, or maybe 3 times since they've joined MLS.
Yeah, under Schmetzer's watch, I think it's 10 of 12 seasons or 10 of or 11 to 12 seasons.
Once or twice.
Yeah.
And the reason that you do that is you establish a core, but you also have a core principle of who you are as a club and what
club has changed by leaps and bounds, like to the 2016 Sounders.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah, but God. They're so good at recruitment.
You know what a Seattle Sounder player is, right?
Absolutely.
You look at Alex Rodon, that's a Seattle Sounder player,
100%,
right?
100%.
You get what they're about. And yes, okay, they'll chop and change. They'll find other DPs, they'll find other TAM players, but they find guys that they put in because they know who they are. They know what they are, and they know how they're going to go out and play. And yes, that it does help that you have a head coach that's been there for a really long time, and Brian Schmetzer, even before he was assistant beforehand.
To Siggy Schmidt, I mean, come on.
Right, exactly. Right, you lose exactly to Richard's point. You lose your GM, he goes to Atlanta to be president,
and they didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, and they don't miss a beat. Right?
Yeah, they lost their Bez and they didn't implode 100%.
Right. And so I think from that perspective, that's what you want to end up being. It's obviously harder than
they've been lucky.
Done, but
there is a certain measure of luck. They've been lucky, but I think and they've also been patient. Like you look at the hero of the game, was De La Vega, the winger for the Sounders. He was atrocious last year. And they had enough faith to let him cook. He was pretty bad in regular season play. He's only really come alive in this League's Cup run, but he's really rounded into form. So I mean, as much as it sucks seeing, the shake and bake repeatedly from what should be our striker, they can keep him warm for us until he comes home to play for TFC, because that's where his heart is, because he's a Di Rosario. And of course that's going to happen. So enjoy him while it lasts, Sounders, but still congratulations on a well-deserved victory, making Inter Miami look like the chumps that they are. Yeah, absolutely. Stay good enough so that when we're good again, we can resume our battles.
Yeah, absolutely. And Richard, yes, the next home game is against Messi and friends. We will see if Luis Suarez plays.
He'll play.
He'll probably play. He'll probably play. And then last comment here, just from James, just in terms of question for us. Do we see another win on the cards for the remainder of the season? 6 games left. I think you can beat New England. I think New England's a wholly beatable
at team. Gillette?
Yeah, at Gillette. Yeah, why not? This team is beatable.
Sure, they're terrible, but Gillette
when you
is a
got
house
Caleb
of
Porter, the nonce that is Caleb Porter, you can beat them any week, right? It's just can you as a team be able to get yourself together enough? We can beat New England. I wholly believe that.
Outside, I think we can beat Miami, right, with the way that Miami is playing right now. I mean, if they show up as flat as they did in that League's Cup game,
they're home. They actually have to play well because they're going to make the playoffs, but they want to
in the Shield hunt.
Yeah. So I think that will be tough. But again, they're all attack. That Seattle game showed you, they're all attack. You can defensively, you can pierce them easily. Orlando City actually showed that a couple of weeks ago.
Exactly.
Outside of that, it's going to be tough. I think Chicago were a bit better than we gave them credit for.
Chicago are great.
Or LAFC away too. That's not easy. In Orlando right now, they look like a scary team. They look like a team you do not want to play in the postseason.
No, Orlando are scary. They're scary. I like the way that team plays.
And they're just rounding into form at the right time. So really, I think your opportunity for a victory is, after the break in New England. I think that's it. And then after that, maybe you can get a
rainbows, hugs, and orange slices.
Miami and against Messi and friends, and maybe they sit him, or maybe maybe the league actually does something and maybe suspend some players, but
not happening.
Let's not hold our breath.
Listen, there's a very good chance. There's probably a 90% chance these are the last however many games in Luis Suarez's illustrious career. As much as I'd love to see him penalized for abhorrent behavior, I don't think the league has the balls. And I also, oh my God, Luis Suarez bites people and spits on them. Well, I'm surprised. I mean, he hasn't been doing that for his entire. So again, give him the last 5 games. Who cares? At this point, Miami's got 7 DPs anyway, right? Bring Blaise Matuidi back just for funsies. Who cares? Really, who cares? I understand the right thing to do is throw the book at them, but they're not going to do it. So why? It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, that I unfortunately agree with you. I don't think they're gonna cop out by saying oh, it was a Leagues Cup game and that's a different competition and we don't have to do anything about that. He can 100%. Suspend him for a Leagues Cup game next year.
Yeah, which he'll never play because he's probably going to retire. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So that's enough on that. Okay, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you everybody for jumping in on another Toronto Till I Die. Really appreciate it as always. Thank you for everybody in the comments. I think we'll probably take next week just because there'll be the international break and we'll come back after the New England game and review that. And hopefully that's 3 points because I think I really just want to beat a Caleb Porter team because Caleb Porter's such a dick.
He's driving me crazy, but that we also have such an affinity for the suffering of those fans because of Thomas and the Blazing Musket. So I mean, every time I catch one of his meaningless interviews, I can just feel Thomas's vein in his forehead just popping out. So
you hear his comment? He's just the 21 team was not that good. I'm like, are you serious, dude?
He really needs to stop talking. Yeah, he's starting to get into Mike Penke area. Remember the Real Salt Lake guy?
Mike Penke. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I just read about him because he was suspended at the Leagues Cup for a violent outburst, and of course, doesn't matter. Oh, his suspension carried over into MLS play. That's what it was.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to hit the little end stream button unless you have anything else to say.
No, other than that, just you know where to find us. Toronto Till I Die on Google, and you can find us at all.
Bring your glizzy
platforms.
Hats. We'll
show us your glizzy hats next time. For Jeffrey P. Nesker, I'm Mike Newell. I'm out of here. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Cheers, everybody.
And wait, and baby, I'm TFC till I die.